Salut tout le monde, Spiritual Mental Fantasy. Bring you guys an old school album review, and today we're going to be looking into this album. It's not really an anniversary, but I'm planning on reviewing just the albums I need to cover before their new album comes out at the end of this month. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be talking about The Link by Gojira, the band's second album released in 2003 under Listenable Records. Now, this, of course, follows up their debut album, Terra Incognita, which was released 2 years prior in 2001. And with this album, compared to Terra Incognita, I feel like The Link by Gojira I feel like this album is a lot more cohesive than Terra Incognita. Not to say that that album was bad, but I feel like Gojira really just stepped it up a little bit. Production wise, I feel like it's pretty much all over the place. The vocal work from Joe Duplantier is great. He does a great job on the vocals, and just same thing with Joe's riffing with him and Christian Andreou's guitar playing. I think it was really tight. Just like the two really just lock in together. Bass wise, Jean-Michel Piche, his bass is pretty audible. You could definitely hear it in the mix. And drumming wise, Mario Duplantier's drumming is fucking great as always. So yeah, let's just dive into this track by track. Now, starting things off is the title track of the album, The Link, which pretty much displays just the qualities just of that Gojira is known for right from the get-go. It has a very eerie kind of like dissonance that adds sort of like a strange like nature to like just the rhythm that's already based on this song. And then we go into Death of Me. Now, Death of Me sort of like lurches, has some really kind of like choppy, kind of like locky grooves, which also builds from like a bouncy kind of like stomp with just some great strumming chords just backing it as well. Next up is Connected, and this is actually one of the 3 instrumentals that are on this album. And this track just comes bursting out at full force and just doesn't let up. And just, one has to compliment Gojira for their great precision as well. And I really love the best example is, of course, Mario Duplantier. He displays a great variety of like speed mixed in with some precise like double bass drumming, which almost kind of reminds me a little bit of like Thomas Heggie from Meshuggah. In my opinion, one of the best metal drummers ever. And then we move on to Remembrance. Now, Remembrance opens up with a tremolo-picked intro and doesn't let up until like the final just shattering breakdown. And Remembrance is like a great example of Gojira's knack of taking a song, applying a fairly simple song structure, and then just enthralling just the listener. And the middle has some like spacey sections, which needs to be heard to be believed, and just the breakdown just comes out blue, and it just makes you want to bang your fucking head. And it's easily, in my opinion, one of the highlights on this album. And then we move on to Tori. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this song is just another instrumental / interlude, and I consider this kind of like a little bit of a breather. Just gives you some room to catch your breath. It's like really calm, and it also has some great like soft like a guitar progression, which leads into the next song being Indian, which I believe was the first single released from this album. And it continues like the typical kind of Gojira fashion, and it sort of like adds a lot of like tribal elements, which makes it a really great surprise. And this song also is very progressive, bringing in many sort of like offbeat fills and riffs with some really great guitar work. And the ending section displays sort of like the band's technical abilities, which is better than any other part in this album. And then we move on to Embrace the World. Now, this song is a lot of fun. It has a very kind of like earthy tribal feeling, and also grim me as well. Well, again, it's just a fucking great song. And then Inward Movement is a very interesting song with some strong riffs and just some really great sense of like energy, and just blowing with some like grim power and just really melancholy at times as well. Over the Flows. Now, this song kind of has a little bit of like a funky kind of like Primus like oddity, which kind of reminds me of like Satan is a Lawyer from the last album. But it also has some really great like elements or aesthetics, which would go into like future songs from other albums. Wisdom, which I feel like this song just shows like the ability of the band to just throw out a simple blast beat and then just use it to their best. And there's not a single clean sound is heard on this track, as like Joe just growls his way through, and it's just fucking amazing. Then we move on to the last song on the album, which is Dawn, and it's just a great instrumental that just builds up with some nice crafted section, and then after that it just sort of dies a bit. The song gets gloomier or darker. It just soaks in. It's a little bit repetitive for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then until it just fades out. Now, overall, The Link by Gojira, I think, is a bit of a step up from Terra Incognita, but I just think like after this they would just even get more better. So I had to get this album a score. I'm gonna give The Link by Gojira an 8.5 out of 10. It's a pretty good album. So yeah, that's my review of The Link by Gojira, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal. Missy.